Welcome to Select Start with DJ Eric Riggsbee. Today on the show we have my FAULTLINE crew member, DJ LUV-le. Today's show is sponsored by FAULTLINE, so we're wearing our FAULTLINE shirts. FAULTLINE's a crew that we have in San Francisco in the Bay Area of California, and we throw parties, and we actually just had one last Saturday.
We did. It was killer.
It was really good. It was our 3-year anniversary.
It was. My first show, however.
Your first show with us as a resident, and I think it went very well.
Did.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Orchid. Got your necklace here. Cheers.
So Anne's wearing the first generation shirt.
True.
I'm wearing the second generation. We have a third generation on now, which is basically the same as this one. But Anne's is funny because we hadn't really figured out yet what was going on. Her .com, it goes CO, and then the M starts on the next line by itself. So it's a one of one. It's custom.
It is. It will always be clear that I purchased the very first FAULTLINE merch.
Would you ever sell that?
Absolutely not.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What if someone said sign it and you put it on eBay and it went to like $1,000?
Sign it. I don't think that's ever gonna happen.
Do you think the value would go? I think if I signed my shirt, the value would actually go down.
Yeah, I think that might be true for me too. Yep. They'd be like, DJ, what? I can't what?
Wait, they're signed right over the nipple? Why would Eric do that?
Yeah, no, not gonna happen.
All right, so this is one of my favorite games on the Wii U. It's Super Smash Brothers. It has basically has all of the people that have shown up in all these different types of games over the years.
So this is Wii U specific?
Yes.
Okay.
The rumor is it's going to be ported to the Switch, which is the new Nintendo system.
Okay.
And
I'm out of the loop in these kinds of.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll bring you back into the loop.
Okay.
So, like we're seeing here in this cutscene intro, it's got all these characters.
Mega Man, right? That's
Mega Man.
stuff?
Yeah, you recognize Mega Man?
Yeah.
That's my favorite guy.
Come on, I know.
We've got actually his amiibo down here. You see him?
I do.
He's so cute. All right.
I personally like this.
Well, that's why I have them all out,
Mario,
because you get to pick later.
Oh.
We're gonna do an 8-on match, so it's gonna be 4-on-4.
Okay.
You, me, and 2 amiibos versus 4 CPUs. We'll save that till the end.
I have no idea what that means.
I know, so we're gonna ramp up to that because.
All right.
Here we go.
Little Mac. Sonic.
Oh wait, 2 Little Macs?
Okay. Whoa, is that's some sort of fighting dude there? Whoa, is he from what was the boxing game back in the day? I also played that.
He is from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Yes, there you go. That game was fun. Yeah, Punch-Out. You get.
Okay, so when you go to your friends' houses to play games, you'd play what? You played Punch-Out. You played Metroid.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was all Nintendo at that point. I certainly remember Atari style stuff, too, for sure, but I was too little at that point. So yeah, by the time I was like, parents, I'm going to play with my friends, which means going to play video games.
And were they okay with you playing games over there?
I mean, I don't think so. That wasn't
okay.
the
So
idea,
it was okay. So it was obviously they did not want you doing this. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I would venture to say that my mom would, if she knew I was doing this right now, she would still be upset.
Are you serious?
Even though I'm an adult. I mean, maybe not upset.
We're gonna send this to her.
This is not her jam.
Oh, that's funny. Well,
I should be reading books, and that's about it.
Just tell her that your crazy friend Eric, who you do the DJ stuff with, had this other crazy idea to start a show.
She knows the DJing stuff. She knows how much music means to me. So
that's
she
good.
Gets that.
That's good.
I played sports growing up.
Did you?
I still watch sports now. I played basketball was my main gig. I was a swimmer, and I played softball.
And did you grew up in Arizona? You grew up in Arizona.
Stood in left field and ate sunflower seeds and was like, "What up?"
That's okay. I played outfield too.
So I went to private school, so nobody was hitting the ball out there.
Oh really? I played outfield also, and I liked it though. I was a good runner, so nothing really got either past me. I mean, I would catch most things that was in my range.
Yeah. Okay.
I was able to field most things. I was never a great baseball player.
Yeah, no, that was never my gig.
I mean, I got to high school, and then the level of talent stepped up significantly. And my 9 years of baseball up to that point, I realized I was just over it. And then music took over. So when did you get into music, though? When was the Did you play any instruments as a kid, or?
Yeah, I was in orchestra my whole life, jazz band, French horn, trumpet.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was in orchestra and jazz band myself too.
Little guitar here and there, yeah.
Yeah.
What did you play again?
Well, I'm a drummer.
Oh yeah, right.
So for like orchestra, I played
Percussion.
timpani.
Mm-hmm. Oh, timpani.
Yeah.
That's my favorite percussion instrument for sure.
Yeah, we had 4 of them at the high school that I.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then I played a little bit of vibraphone and marimba in jazz band.
Okay.
There were 2 drummers in the jazz band, so what we did was, when one drummer was playing on the kit, the other guy was doing whatever percussion part needed.
Right.
So there was some tracks were sort of involved for marimba and vibes, and then some were a little bit more simple, like a little bit of conga or maybe a triangle sound or a tambourine or something, right?
More cowbell.
Okay,
what just
so
happened there?
you did play some instruments, and then so that probably is what got you into DJing, right?
No, DJing was actually totally random. So there was a summer after my first year of college in Connecticut that I decided to stay there. Why go home to Arizona? I'm trying to be my own person, forget about it. So I stayed there. A bunch of my friends got some internships, and so we could all stay on campus, right? So I got a campus job. And so then my friend who had just bought a bunch of turntables and a whole heck of a lot of trance records was like, well, if you're going to be here, why transport? Because, it was back in the day when everything was huge.
Right.
Weighed a ton of pounds and, tiny cars. We didn't have SUVs yet, so there wasn't, space for all that stuff, right? You're, moving all your stuff from an entire year of life back home.
Right.
And he was like, forget about it. I'm just going to leave him here with you. He lived in Boston. We were in Connecticut, so he was like, I'll leave him here and I'll just come visit when I want to use him. So that was awesome. So like I said, he was a trance guy, so it was like a whole crap load of trance records. And then our other friend found out that was happening, and he lived in New York City, DJ Recon, dude, cool guy. He was like, well, cool, can I leave all my stuff with you too? And he was all like jungle, drum and bass, and breaks.
Nice. What year was
this?
this?
So I just randomly got left with all this stuff.
Like what era?
I guess this would have been 97 or 8, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right around when I
Early
started.
on?
That's
Early
right.
on?
Yeah, right around when I started.
Yeah, so they left all that stuff with us.
Do you still have that?
I don't. Long story about that. There was a flood.
Oh. No.
Yeah, I flooded a brand new dorm at Connecticut College. I'll be Wario. How about?
You flooded it?
I did. Yep, it was my fault. Mm-hmm. Yep.
What did you do?
So they literally had just built this brand new dorm. Nobody had lived in it yet. They opened it for the people, the summer residents.
Right.
And previous to that, I had lived in one of the oldest dorms on campus. It's not even a dorm. It was like an off-campus. Oops, I just walked right off the ledge there. So, it's like the old school sprinkler systems, like super hardcore metal stuff, whatever. So people would just hang anything on them, plants, it's just pipes with the sprinkler. We'd just hang stuff on there and we'd make our rooms look nice, what have you. So I go into this brand new dorm and I didn't even think twice about it, and I literally just hung a hanging plant. It was a very innocent, very innocent situation. I hung a hanging plant on one of these things, but it was this brand new situation with the little glass things, you know what I'm talking about? They're the glass senses heat, but you also can't touch the glass at all.
Okay.
And I guess when I hung the plant, it touched the glass, but it took a minute it took a while for it to happen. So I don't really know exactly how this whole thing happened, but basically I moved into my dorm room, hung something on the thing, and then walked down the street to my other friend's room. And we're hanging out, playing records, in fact. She had the turntables in her room. And we hear all this crazy sirens. This campus is going nuts. This kind of thing never happens on our campus, right? So we're like, what is going on? I call my friend. I'm like, what's going on? Your dorm is being surrounded by fire trucks right now. What is happening? And she's like, yeah, it's your room. You should probably come over here. So I go running over there, and I had set the entire sprinkler system off. which is not just water. It's like disgusting foam and
what set it off?
It's actually like oil too. There's like this nasty black disgusting. What the heck was that?
What set it off?
Apparently the plant is what they say. Is like that somehow it broke the glass on the outside of the sensor, and it eventually set it off. Why it took a while to set it off, I don't know. And I actually ended up not getting in trouble for any of it because
that does not sound like it's your fault.
All these unanswered questions, right? And so it was like,
how did they even trace it to you? I mean,
because it was very clear it was my room.
Right, but yeah. Which set it off in all the rooms.
Well, it set it off in my room, but then it's the amount of water and pressure is so vast that and I guess the building was actually not made that well. So it leaked, all the water and that black tar fluid stuff leaked down the walls all the way down into the basement. So
oh wow. By
the time that I got there and they let me in to recover as much stuff as I could recover, there was I was wading through probably 1.5 feet of water to get to my room.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so everything in my room was dead and done for. But it leaked all the way down the entire building, so they had to shut the whole building down for the whole rest of the summer. I'm not certain that they opened it up the next semester. I really screwed that thing up. It was bad. It was bad. And there's way more to the story. Oh yeah. There's way more to the story than that too. I lost a bunch of really important. I lost all my photo albums. I lost all my records. I lost all my friends' stuff that they were storing there because it was summer and I was staying there. It was ugly. It was a terrible time. The flood.
The flood. What year?
That was that same summer, so 98.
The flood of 98.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Terrible, terrible time. My friend still to this day is like, oh, I was looking for this one shirt that I loved. Yeah, it got lost in the flood. It's it affected a lot of people. It was really intense. Yeah, so that's a big story. So that was both the beginning and the end of my DJ career in a really short time.
Yeah, very short. And then were you just over it for a while because of that?
No, so then we ended up moving off campus, my friend and I, and the records that did survive, there were a bunch stored somewhere else, and another friend gave us them back. My one friend, my trans friend, had brought many of his home because he's very careful with his stuff. He knows I'm an idiot. Not that you could have predicted the flood, but so I continued on throughout those years, and we had a little production company going and stuff. Good People Productions.
Nice.
In New London, Connecticut. It was special.
And what was that about?
Just throwing little raves in New London, Connecticut. Yeah. There was nothing else like that going on there.
That's cool. Yeah. So then you graduated from college?
No, I did not graduate from college.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Should I have not gone there?
No.
I just assumed
you did.
No,
it doesn't matter. I don't care.
So you decided not to graduate from college?
Yeah, I spent all my time doing music and other stuff,
And what were you going to school at for?
I wasn't a music major, but
okay.
It's not the kind of music I cared about.
Right, but it was music major for music theory and for the instruments that you played.
Right.
Right.
Oh.
Did you have your own turntables though when you had those records?
They were my friends. My friend.
Was that in the flood?
No, the turntables themselves were in another area, so they were saved, and most of his records were saved. But the other friend who had given us his breaks and drum and bass records, a lot of those were lost.
Oh yeah.
The good thing about him was that he was an actual scratch DJ from back in the day, so he had doubles of a lot of his records.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he ended up not DJing. By the time that I left there, he had quit DJing, and he just gave us the rest of his records anyway, my friend Eric and I. So yeah, my DJing came about from a lot of friends supplying me with stuff and being like, here, hold on to this. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to use these. And then I got really into it.
Breaks had kind of already had its moment in the Bay Area. It was part of the early electronica that was coming out, and where it was all of it was techno, and then it was okay, the track was broken, but they weren't really calling it a break yet, and DJ Icy was just starting to maybe produce yet. But then once it all went to like Florida and like, oh, this is breaks. Mm-hmm. It really died out in the Bay Area. So like when I was record shopping in the late 90s, I was finding house, trance. And then drum and bass.
And like Simply Jeff and those people were happening now.
There's little things here and there, but it wasn't like in the forefront here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was Simply Jeff. On that label was Simply Jeff, and then on the same label was the like hardcore guy, right?
Right. And until
it's like a label that was like one breaks guy, one hardcore guy, and like a one.
It was Ron D. Jeremy.
Yeah, Ron D. Core,
right? Ron D. Core.
Yeah.
Ron Jeremy.
Different Ron.
But yeah, so there was Ron D. Core, and then sometimes Dan would be on the thing with Ron D. Core too.
Totally.
But yeah, you're right. And it was like there wasn't too many.
But Dan was playing like funky house back then, which was breaky.
But he was playing breaks before that. So the point I'm making was like there was no real like breaks parties until Eclectic started their Hectic room at the pizza place in like I think it was like 2000 or 99. No. This is like the late 90s. Ground Score started their thing with drum and bass, and then Felix the Dog started his room, the side room, which is called Hectic, and then that was around like when the new school era started, like the 2000s I think is when it started pushing into that. So and then they moved to their place at the Cat Club, and it was like on every Saturday, and then breaks was back, you know. But when I first started in the late 90s, around 2000, but the late 90s, there was a couple years where it was like, I was definitely looking at Florida as like, oh, Kaleidoscope and Zone and all this stuff, and I was like, and I'm in the Bay Area, and Tree, which was his side label, which I liked even better.
Everything
because it was all the edits. It was all like the tracks where he was like, I don't know if this is gonna be a hit. It was like kind of a B-side. I'm like, oh, I want that.
That's like the jam. Totally.
Yeah, it's the jam.
It's not his like big room back then, which is now like totally the side room stuff. Now he plays like real big room stuff, like raunchy breaks.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, the first like big rave I went to was in Philadelphia at Shampoo, and it was one of those ones like a typical one that still had all the different rooms, right? Like outside was the techno space, so I saw oh my gosh, well, Frankie Bones was out there, Josh Wink was out there. Oh my god, the list of this party just goes on and on and on. And then in the inside room, in the breaks room, DJ Dan actually played in that room too. Funky House Breaks, DJ Icy. Pretty much like all Simply Jeff came all the way across for that.
Wow.
That was dope. Pretty much all of my current favorite DJs were at that party. Like that was the seminal like moment for me of like, this is the music that I'm into, this is the culture that I'm into, this is like what I'm gonna do with myself.
Right.
You know, like that was the moment. And it's crazy to like I've been looking for the flyer. I found it online at one point in one of those old archives. And I didn't save it for some reason. I don't think I do have one box of old flyers at my parents' house that might have it in there, but it's literally like every name you're like, oh my god, like it's like all the favorites, you know, it's nuts. So that party was definitely like the major kickoff of like this is life, dude. Like,
nice. That's what you want. That's what you want to do. Yeah. All right.
Shampoo.
I think we should take a break.
I agree.
We're going to run for our sponsor, FAULTLINE. We got the FAULTLINE sessions. Comes out once a month. I did the first one. Lovely did the second one. We are on the fifth one right now with Ion Zide. And we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. There's Alex. Get Alex.
Learn to stay down here. Oh, you psychosis! Get you. Whoa.
He's back. There he is. See with his beanie? You totally pick out Alex. He's got the red beanie. There's my dad. There's Bob.
Wait. Where's this blonde nutter getting me?
There's Blaine. Blaine's got the sword. There's my brother.
I just kicked Blaine out of here. Get out of here, Blaine. POW. What's the POW? Oh, I want it. Who's this blonde character here?
I'm not sure who that guy is.
That guy's not messing around. Oh. Where am I?
We're doing good here.
Oh, here. There's too many characters. It's like really hard for me to. I'm used to, like we were talking about earlier, I'm used to the old school video games. There was not all this stuff in the background.
This drives Kelly crazy.
It's really hard for me to focus.
All right, we'll do a different one after this.
Oh.
Hey, pretty good. We had 77 to go.
56%. I was at nothing. I've always been more of a sports game kind of gal.
Really?
Yeah.
Which ones?
Well, like Tecmo originally.
Nice.
But the Madden now. Justin and I. Shout out, Justin. Lots of Madden in our life, for sure. And I always won. Graduated from recording school and actually had to get an internship as part of the degree from there. So
right.
At that point, it was still like, there were recording studios proper. And so the best places to go to do an internship were LA, Chicago, New York, San Francisco. So I showed up here and I moved into my friend's killer apartment on 20th and Lexington in the heart of the Mission.
This is what year?
You don't even want to know how much we paid back then?
I want to know.
It was like $2,700 for a killer 3-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
On 20th and Lexington.
Wow.
Yeah. So I lived there for quite some time, did a bunch of internships all over the place, worked in some recording studios for a while, and then that's like when recording studios started going the way of nothing, not a lot happening. Then I worked for a famous person for a while.
Are you allowed to say who it was?
Technically not, I don't really care anyway.
Is it in your contract? You were not allowed to say who it was?
Yeah.
Can you say, can we have an exclusive on Select Star with DJ Eric Riggsbee?
I drove away from there in a fast car as fast as possible. Clear it up for you? It doesn't. Give me one reason to stay here. You have no idea. Okay, and actually none of the young people that might be watching this are going to have any freaking clue what that means either. Okay, well that's enough hints though, you can figure it out.
Alright, I'll do a Google search later.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're like a personal assistant?
So I went on tour for... No, I recorded all the live shows and I worked in a studio.
Yeah, I remember back in the late 90s just trying to get into a studio with my band. It was like, wait, we have to save up how much money to do this?
Yeah.
And then it just became like, well, let's just get a 4-track.
Right.
And we did. We went to the studio a couple times.
And therein lies exactly why studios went down.
Was the 4-track the beginning of it?
Well, just any of that. Like, we can't afford to, as a beginning band, the studios were run by labels, or labeled artists are the only people who could afford them. And as technology started making it easy for other people to do it, like, why would you pay $500 an hour if you could buy a 4-track for $500? There is a lot of crappy sounding crap that comes out.
When you're talking about live music, not like someone at the computer doing electronic stuff. You're talking like
No, I think even electronic stuff, I think it can benefit from somebody who has a good ear and knows what it means to make it, full frequency.
Right.
It maybe enhance some of the bass or what have you with some like sub-frequency things, but you can do all that in any program now, especially like you got one right here. It's a nice one. But you have to know what you're doing, You have to understand the concept of it, right? So, you don't want to pay the money to go into the space itself, but you might want to pay the money to have the person who has the know-how,
Maybe come into your bedroom and run your gear.
Right, or exactly, left, right, that dude, Chris Lund, he is a teacher, actually, that's his, other gig.
For music?
Yeah, he's an audio teacher. Yeah. But he also runs now a mastering studio and all sorts of stuff. And if you want a real professional product that sounds like his music sounds, which to me is kind of the best thing out there right now.
Right.
Then you're gonna hire somebody like that to make that happen. Right. So there is still use for it, but it doesn't cost $500 an hour anymore, or it shouldn't.
Right. And even as a DJ, I can tell when I'm listening to tracks, which ones are produced.
Yeah, the ones that sound like there's space that you can, get into,
right.
as opposed to just,
Right.
You know?
And sometimes I've passed up on tracks where
I just got that.
the song is good, but I just know when I'm listening to it, I'm like, this is gonna have problems. Like I'm gonna have to run the gain really high, and then I'm gonna get like some weird fuzz out of the speakers because I'm up too high, and it just.
Or you're gonna have to like crank the highs, and that hurts people's ears. I consider myself to be like a curator. If that makes
No, I do too.
I think you do too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm very good at that. And
selecting the right song to go with the other right song, and I think that that's actually really a talent. You know, I think a lot of people think. I think so. I think a lot of people think they can do it, but
yeah,
maybe I would disagree with it.
I hear you. So this level is from a game called Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, I like this one. I think. Oh, hey.
I'm playing this game right now. It's incredibly huge. I'm like 10 hours into it, and I feel like I've barely scratched the surface.
Yeah, anything that's called a chronicle these days is probably going to be kind of a big deal.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? Like, they just go on and on.
So, I'm playing a game right now that's supposedly about 100 hours to get through. It's the new Legend of Zelda. Mm-hmm. And it's probably one of the best video games I've ever played in my life. It's amazing.
Is it similar, like, does it look like this, or is it still like you're looking down on the world style?
No, it's all 3D. It's all 3D, and it's open world in the sense of, like, you're up on a cliff, and you can see something in the distance.
That thing!
Is he with you?
I don't know! I just jumped off of the cliff because I was so surprised about this thing. I have no idea what's going on.
I'm trying to... Wait. Anyway.
I think that we're damaging it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it just destroyed me.
So the cool thing about this new Legend of Zelda game is you'll see something off in the distance, and it's miles and miles away, and you'll be able to walk to it. And I know that sounds probably pretty simple of a concept to you, maybe, but in video games usually there's like a stopping point where like the hillside or something, an edge or whatever. There's there are edges to this, but you have to walk for an hour.
Sounds like Burning Man.
It does. It is a lot like Burning Man.
It's the Burning Man of video games. You really do have to walk a long time to get to that freaking trash fence, man. That shit is huge.
So there is a trash fence?
Yeah.
And is it where you just throw all your garbage?
No, it's what keeps all the garbage away from the rest of the pristine space that you're in.
What do you mean? Like you go over to the trash fence to throw your garbage away, right?
No. The trash fence is literally there. So there's like giant windstorms that come up constantly all the time while you're there.
Sure.
And so, part of being at Burning Man is that you're supposed to like take care of yourself and others and your stuff and other people's stuff. But stuff gets blown away no matter what. They're like, these windstorms are like dust storms. Like, I'm from Arizona. I've seen some crazy monsoon dust storms before, and they're nothing like this. So things get blown around. So the trash fence is literally out there to keep all the stuff that gets blown away from blowing out into the rest of the playa that goes on.
So the trash fence goes all the way around.
The entire thing is surrounded, yeah.
Oh my god.
But like so the city is built around it.
How high is the fence?
It's not that high because everything kind of blows like along
into
the
it.
ground. Yeah. And it's just like a typical kind of construction, like, plasticky, orange, fancy kind of thing.
And does it start filling up throughout the week?
It does, but they drive through and clean it up, and people go out there. Like, that's part of your job as a burger is to go pick things up and keep the place clean and clear.
So that's the joke that Daft Punk is playing at the trash fence.
Correct. Well, that's just its own ridiculous joke, but yes, it's way the heck out there. So, like, if you go from center camp to the center of the trash fence, I think it's at least a mile. I want to say it's probably like 2 or 3 miles.
I was going to say, a mile's not that long. But a couple miles is long.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I know. When you're walking.
Yeah, and even on your bike, it's literally like you have no idea where you are once you get out there, you know what I mean? Like if you can see the temple and the man, then you're good, you know where you are, but if you can't, who the heck knows where you are? And if a dust storm comes up while you're out there, which it did my first year there, sit down. Don't move. Just wait.
And how many?
I sat out there for an hour and a half.
How many years have you gone to Burning Man?
Only 2. Last year was my second.
And you went 2 years in a row?
2 years in a row, yeah.
Are you gonna go
I'm
again?
gonna go again this year, hopefully, and then I gotta take a break after that.
Why are you taking a break after that?
My camp is taking a break. We just need to like do other human life things.
So you barely want to go this year, but you're just gonna make it happen.
No, I still want to go for sure. It's just I mean, I have a child now.
No,
so
it's a big deal to do it. I've never gone, but it seems like such an undertaking.
Yeah, and it's something that Evie would really love too, but she can't go because she's staying home with the kid, right? So.
Well, I need showers daily, and I also need.
You can have showers. We have a shower.
I don't like extreme heat.
It's not. I mean, it's hot. I'm from Arizona, though, man. It's
See,
not that hot.
no, I'm already not believing you because you're from Arizona. You already.
It is. It gets pretty hot during the day. It's not unbelievably hot, though. It's not unbearable.
Is it over 80?
Yes.
I don't know if it's for me.
Much of the time. I mean, not always, though. And at night, it's a lot cool. I mean, at night, you wear sweatshirts. It gets downright cold.
Well, everyone wears their furry things. I know,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is I didn't realize, and it drops, right? Like, yeah.
And when the dust storms come, that's really something special.
Because if you don't have your goggles,
yeah, I mean it's literally a whiteout. Like you just cannot go anywhere. You can't do anything when they're the big ones. I mean they're
and how far in front of you?
Minor ones all the time.
How far in front of you can you see?
0, right here.
Really?
Literally.
And when that happens,
that's what I'm saying. It's like I was out in Deep Playa when my first year there, and a whiteout came. It was a long one. I sat down for probably an hour and a half. Like I literally just had to sit there because if I were riding my bike, I mean, hopefully all the vehicles stop. They're supposed to.
I was gonna say there's gotta be a rule.
Well, there aren't any rules.
Well, that sounds like a good rule to have.
There aren't any actual rules.
What about rules that are for safety?
Don't be an idiot and don't die.
I always get offered a bunch of gigs about like a week or two before.
Yeah, Dusty Rhinos there, mate.
They ask me to play all the time, and it's like I'm just not going. I'm sorry. And I don't have any of the gear. And on top of that,
well, that's why you have to join a camp.
And you just said my least favorite word.
Join.
No, I like to join things. I don't like to camp.
Oh, yeah, that's the problem. That's not
I
gonna
love
work
joining
out.
things. I love community. I love.
It's like camping times 10,000.
It's like camping times like
camping in
a military exercise.
Yeah.
But then it has all my favorite things like rave music and art.
Yes.
So
and
it's like
really nice people.
And really, so it's like half of my favorite stuff and half of my least favorite things. And
I think you should give it a shot.
But I have a feeling that like the dust storms and the heat and like the
Yeah, but if you join a camp that has been there before and knows how to manage those things, then like most camps have a tent that you go in when the dust storms come, but you have to be at the camp. That's the problem.
Well, that's the other thing.
They do just whip up, like it's just all of a sudden, you're just like hanging out. It's a beautiful day, and then all of a sudden it's like.
Yeah, I'd be on trash fence duty.
Yeah.
And I would be stuck out there.
Yep.
Where'd Eric go?
Sit down.
He's looking for Daft Punk. Look at you in the back. The brawler of many faces, DJ LUV-le. Yeah.
Look at my face. What? I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
You know what I did do for Burning Man? I designed my friend's campsite once.
I think you told me.
In AutoCAD. They were like, dude, we gotta lay this stuff out now. We just submit it. It's like, that's cool. And he gave me a sketch. It was like
and it matters that it has to be right on. Like that stuff has to be tracked.
It was very accurate.
Yeah. No, I mean that's what I mean.
Well, there needs to be a 12
professional version.
A 12-foot path of travel that has to go through two ways for a car and
for
emergency vehicle. Because you can't have these things like stacked up on each other.
Yeah.
So I like that. That was actually a pretty fun exercise.
Yeah,
I think what you should do now is pick an amiibo.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick this guy right here. This is Ryu.
Oh, wait, here. I didn't realize this dude was here the whole time.
Yeah.
You were using him.
Mr. Game & Watch. All right, now check this out.
What?
Okay, so they're gonna be on our.
What just happened?
These are our amiibos.
What?
Palutena is level 15 and Ryu is level 12. They can go up to 50.
Okay. The whole
Okay. You'll look like this.
Like dizzy all the time.
All right, you have to look at your name to see where you're at.
I don't see myself at all yet. Up there.
See, this is what I was saying. I need 100 inch
Oh wow,
TV
yeah,
for
this is serious. Whoa, I don't even know what. How do I get up anyway?
What do you think music would be like today if hip hop was never
It
invented?
would be a lot of rock and roll, and crappy rock and roll probably.
I mean,
Well, I mean, breakbeats
wouldn't be about it.
rely on hip hop.
And I feel like well, it's also electronic music. I mean,
Yeah, I mean there might be some house, disco.
okay, so there'd be house, and there'd be rock, but there'd be no.
Like really crappy alt rock.
But the other, yeah, and the thing is, it's like, do you consider James Brown early hip hop?
It's a good question. I guess. I mean R&B.
I think I consider. I look at it like it's the early roots of hip hop and drum and bass for sure, and breakbeat.
I can get down with that.
Because if you take that amen break, you take those break beats that James Brown drummers were playing, that do.
Yeah. You're right. A lot of the original breaks
Putting that
came
snare
from
drum on the
kind
dude,
of
that
stuff, for sure. Yeah.
that conscious change right there is what changed up the beat structure from a 2/4 or a 1-2-3-4.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I know disco came after James Brown, but I really think that James Brown beat, that funk, throwing that in there, that was the first time people had ever thought of a beat structure that way.
True, but I think the hip hop consciousness, or like the idea of how that kind of music is put together, is what made the sampling happen.
Right,
and then the,
right,
like,
absolutely.
Taking that beat that was already made by people like James Brown and turning it into something else entirely.
Right.
Silly. Okay, so then the other question was, I guess it was on Twitter, and somebody asked what my favorite video game
soundtrack was.
Well, the new school answer is, of course, Wes Smith, right? Duh, we gotta give him a shout.
Wes Smith did the soundtrack, our good buddy Wes Smith for TTR.
And it's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's an amazing album. And gotta go with the old school, like, come on. Nitrous Oxide, Crystal Method.
It's gotta be late 90s.
It's called N2O, but I mean.
Or maybe it was early 2000s?
Yeah. That game's nuts too, man. You should look that thing
Nitrous
up.
Oxide.
I mean, maybe if we go back and play it now, it would be like, oh, whatever.
Wouldn't hold up that well.
Back in the day, it was like, whoa.
Well, when I get Wes Smith on the show, I told him we're gonna play TTR.
Nice.
I'm like, we're gonna have to do it.
Obviously,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, cool. I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.